everybody, and welcome back to Rose and Tar Reviews. Today, we are looking at my 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. By the time that you see this video, it's probably going to be well into January, so super early on this one, eh? But still, better late than never, and some of these are just around the corner, so let's get cracking. And before we get going with the top 10, let's talk about some honourable mentions, because yes, it was very difficult to whittle this down to just 10 movies. Starting with 28 Years Later, Lilo and Stitch, F1, Sinners, Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. Yeah, I know, it didn't make the list. And finally, potentially, the Peaky Blinders film. Production wrapped on this one in December last year, so I think it's unlikely that it gets a 2025 release, but hey, you never know. So there are my honourable mentions. Let's get going with the top 10.
I'm going to need a gun.
From the world of John Wick comes a new entry with a new lead. Ballerina follows a highly trained assassin played by Ana de Armas as she seeks revenge after her father's death. The film is set for release in early June and is directed by Len Wiseman, and also sees returning cast members like Keanu Reeves and Ian McShane. Ballerina I am very much looking forward to. Ana de Armas may or may not be my celebrity crush, like watching her in No Time to Die, like... But don't just reduce me to that. I like more than watching beautiful women on movie screens. You know, I'm a more sophisticated reviewer than that. You know, there's like the action and stuff, right? Like sick choreography and the moves. And in all seriousness, I do like the long form action in John Wick. That is why, rightly or wrongly, I put it ahead of Mission Impossible in this list. I'm hoping this one's good. Pretty mental that Zootopia 2 takes my number 9 spot ahead of something like Ballerina, but man, I love that first movie. We don't know much about this movie, with no trailers being released, no major plot points. We know that Nick Wilde and Judy Hobbs will of course be teaming up again to crack another case. Releasing in late November, this one is directed by Jared Bush and Byron Howard, and does indeed see the return of Jason Bateman and Jennifer Goodwin. I think first and foremost, the character dynamics between Judy and Nick are perfect. You've also got the world, which looks amazing. There's such great potential to expand upon that world with this film. Things like the messaging, how you can be more than others define you. I could go on. There's so many good elements to this film, and that's why I'm really looking forward to the second one.
I'm gonna make it actually stop.
Bit of a rogue one here, but Now You See Me 3 is a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, and I didn't realise they were releasing a threequel until a few months ago. We have absolutely no idea on plot points for this one. However, we have got a bunch of returning cast members like Morgan Freeman, Jesse Eisenberg, Woody Harrelson. I mean, I'm really excited for this one coming out in November.
But you will.
To DreamWorks Studios we go with a live-action How to Train Your Dragon movie. And here, of course, we are expecting a recreation of the plot that we got in the animated movie, with Lonesome Viking Hiccup meeting Night Fury Toothless. We've got Mason Thames and Nico Parker playing Hiccup and Astrid respectively, and my personal highlight of the cast, Gerald Butler reprising his role as Stoic the Vast. I can't wait to see him in live action. The first little minute-long teaser trailer that we got a couple of months back, I thought it was great, not gonna lie. Toothless looked so on point. The casting choices look really good. The world looks very well realised. Combine that with a really, really solid animated trilogy and the basis for a great story. I don't see how this one can go wrong. Famous last words?
You want me? Come and get me!
Following the massive success of Deadpool and Wolverine in 2024, Marvel could really do with a good kickoff to 2025 with a good theatrical entry. And the next one that we're getting is Captain America Brave New World in February. Of course, we have Anthony Mackie taking over the role of Captain America, and somehow, as you all know, Harrison Ford is in this movie. Like, what? We're getting Harrison Ford as Red Hulk, Thunderbolt Ross. Plus, an important point, Liv Tyler is in this film reprising her role as Betty Ross. And this is where I will make an important point. Should you not know already, go back and watch The Incredible Hulk before you go and watch this film, because at the very least, there will be characters from The Incredible Hulk in this new Captain America film. So go back, rewatch it, and get prepared. Steve Rogers as Captain America is my current favourite MCU character to date, and I can see why he passed on the shield to Sam. He's got very Captain America-esque qualities to him. Of course, we've got Red Hulk in this film. The trailers have provided a much darker tone in comparison to some of the other recent Marvel entries. Add all of that up and I'm getting pretty excited. And this is why it falls fairly high on the list. However, in another multiverse reality, I think I would have put this much higher on my list if it wasn't for all of the production problems. There have been a bunch of reshoots. I've been hearing about test audiences that have seen the film and haven't really enjoyed it. So with that, I am very excited, but cautiously not so as well. Either way, this one takes my number 6. Starting off the top 5, Jurassic World Rebirth. This one's directed by Gareth Edwards, who's responsible for films like 2014's Godzilla and Star Wars Rogue One. Excitingly, we do have a new lead in here, Scarlett Johansson, but also Mahershala Ali is in this film, who I'm also very excited to see. The Jurassic World franchise, it's a solid one, right? It reminds me very much of the Star Wars sequel trilogy. With Force Awakens, you go back to that world and it's like, wow, Star Wars, it's so good that it's back. That was very much the case with the first Jurassic World movie. And then from there, you realise that maybe the storytelling and the characters aren't as well realised and they start to decline a little bit. The first half of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, I really liked that, I did, but then they go back to that mansion and it starts to lose me a little bit. Similarly with Dominion, I actually thought for me that was an expectation mismanagement issue, because I truly thought that we were going to get the actual Jurassic World happening in that movie, but we didn't. We got a story about locusts and corrupt companies, so it wasn't the best conclusion for me. With that, I'm kind of excited that they get a fresh take, a fresh approach at this world. That's why it makes my number 5.
It's clobbering time.
My fourth most anticipated film of 2025 is actually Fantastic Four. This one was all the hype in the early casting days, with lots of theories and speculation going around on the internet, until eventually Marvel announced the final cast of Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Ebon Moss-Bachrach as the Fantastic Four. So Fantastic Four is an interesting case study, because as of yet, they're really yet to nail a decent Fantastic Four film. Yet, I'm still hopeful for this one. Kevin Feige will be well aware of that track record, and we've got director Matt Shakman coming in, who was responsible for WandaVision, which I absolutely loved, and that's why this one takes my number 4 spot. Crypto, the super dog, crypto, up, up and away. Anyone else watch Crypto as a kid? No, just me? Okay. Superman is finally here. This is a big one. We've got a new Superman in David Cornsweet. We've got a new cinematic universe launching. We've got director James Gunn. The stakes could not be higher. The opening teaser for this was so promising. You really got those vibes of awe, wonder, magnificence. Perfect for an opening Superman trailer. Combine that with the talent and creativity of someone like James Gunn, and surely you're onto a winner. He did get some practice for a Superman-like character with Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy 3, a character with a very similar power set, very otherworldly powers. My one tiny whiny kind of concern is that I don't want this to have the same feel and vibe of Guardians of the Galaxy. Alright, sure, brighten the colour palette, add some personality, but I want this film to maintain the gravitas of something like Man of Steel. But James Gunn clearly has a great grasp on comic book lore. I trust him. This one makes my top 3.
You are all so adorable. Eat shit, Valentina.
Okay, the proper business end now. Marvel's Thunderbolts takes my number 2 spot. Releasing in May, we've got another great cast here. The likes of David Harbour, Florence Pugh, Sebastian Stan. A really solid lineup. And the funny thing is with this one, if you'd asked me at the start of 2024, Rosenthal, What are you most looking forward to about Marvel next year? I probably wouldn't have said Thunderbolts, but that's how good these trailers have been. The Bucky action, the cold leadership of Florence Pugh, the tease of Sentry even. I can't wait for this one.
I need you with me. And I need you to be strong.
And so we come to top spot. Avatar, Fire and Ash. Why, you may ask? The cast is pretty much the same, the production team similarly so, not much time for technology to have improved, so what's changed? Well, that's kind of why. Yeah, I enjoyed the first one. I think it suffers from Overwatch syndrome for me, having watched it so many times as a kid. But then we came to The Way of Water. And you know what? It was one of the few times with these blockbusters that I was okay with the less is more thing. Don't get me wrong, this film is still grand in a lot of ways. But for the entire runtime of this movie, I was just so immersed in the world and the characters. It was amazing, and I ended up preferring it to the first Avatar, an unpopular opinion I know. And so with not much changing, I can't help but go into Avatar, Fire and Ash really, really excited. And so with all that, we close this list. These are my top 10 most anticipated movies of 2025. Now that you've heard my thoughts, let's hear yours. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your 10 most anticipated movies of 2025? Thank you very much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like. And as always, please subscribe for more reactions and reflections, and I'll speak to you all very soon. Another really bad click.